Hi there. Or if this is your first time seeing me, please make sure it's not the last by clicking the like and the subscribe button. That way you get notification of any future videos that I do. But our purpose today is to work through the College Algebra Learning Guide. We've moved into week 2, and this is part 1 of week 2. Now, if you missed part week 1, I'll definitely link it below so that way you can go back and watch those. And then I've got 6 parts planned for week 2 to hopefully get you ready for this week and all that that entails. So, if you haven't downloaded the learning guide, you definitely can do that in the description. I'll put the link that way you can make a copy from my Google Drive. You have it. You can see that part 1 we're going to focus on the Pythagorean theorem, circles, should be lots of fun, and volume here. In our notes box here, I gave you the Pythagorean theorem. I'm hoping that looks a little bit familiar. Maybe you've heard it before. And then I also put the 2 formulas we'll work with for our circles. So let's work on that Pythagorean theorem first. I hope you noticed that in our Pythagorean theorem, the C is across from the right angle. That lets us know that it's the side on the it is the on the side of the equal sign by itself. So when we look at number 1, we're going to have to pick out what is A, what is B, and what is C. So in this case, I would probably say that A is the X and 6 is the B and then 10 is C. Now, if you got A to be 6 and B to be X, you're going to come out with the same answer I am. So no worries on that one. So friends, what we'll do now is we'll substitute these values into that Pythagorean theorem formula. So I'm going to put in X for A, I'll put 6 for B, and I'll put 10 for C. Now use your calculator to calculate 6 to the second power. Remember that means 6 times itself. So 6 times 6, that gives me 36. And 10 times 10 gives me 100. And I'm going to move over here and I'm going to solve for X now. So I'm going to subtract 36 from both sides so that I get X squared equals 64. Now, if you're using Desmos, which is the one I'm using most often in our course because it's free and you have access to it on the internet, I'm going to switch over so you can see my Desmos calculator as I type in square root of 64 to make the calculator tell me what that value is. So friends, I'm typing in SQRT and notice that Desmos turns it to a square root for me, and then I'm putting in 64. And that gives me a value of 8. I did a double take there because I thought Desmos was telling me it was 2 point something. That's not going to work for us. But X is 8 here. And that is our final answer. If you've seen any of my videos, you know I love to add a little color to math. Makes things just a little bit more fun. So let's keep going though. I'm going to switch back so that we can see question 2 just a little bit better. In question 2, I'm looking for the area and their circumference. So we've given the formulas for both of those here in our circle picture. Notice in this circle, we are being given the length of the diameter, okay? I like to tell students that the diameter is longer than the radius because the word diameter is longer than the word radius. And that's how I truly remember the two. So I'm being told in this picture that the diameter is 14. That's pretty easy for me to find the circumference because it has diameter in it. So I'm putting in d times pi, which would give me 14 pi. Now, if your instructions say leave the answer in terms of pi, then you're going to type in 14. You're going to choose the pi symbol from the toolbar and you'll be done. Okay? Of course, this is in inches. If your instructions say, hey, use pi equals 3.14, then you would put in 3.14 for pi and you would multiply it times 14 to get your answer. So it depends on what your instructions are telling you if you need to go further or not. So I'm going to go ahead and stay with the answer in terms of pi. We'll leave it just like that. Let's find the area now. You'll notice in my area formula that it doesn't use d. We were given the diameter, which is all the way from one side of the circle to the other, passing through the center. But if we wanted the radius, we would only go halfway. So the radius here is actually half of 14, which is 7. That's nice for us because we can then plug that into our formula for the area to find. So now I've got 7 to the second power. That means 7 times 7, which is 49 pi. And again, depending on what your instructions say, you might leave it in terms of pi, or you might need to use 3.14. All right, let's move on then to number 3, which asks us to draw the circle x squared plus y squared equals 6 and identify the center and the radius. So I'm going to switch over to our Desmos calculator, which is where I want to spend my time uh, letting Desmos do the drawing for me. So I'm going to do x squared. Now, if you're asking yourself, well, how did she get that exponent of 2? I did shift. I held down the shift key, and the number 6 gave me the caret, which pushes me into the exponent. Now, you'll notice I'm still in the exponent, so use your right arrow to come out of the exponent, and then plus y squared. And then come out of the exponent again, equals 16. Notice Desmos drew it for us. Okay. Now, you'll need to draw this circle on your learning guide, but I want to point out some things. Notice that your circle is centered around the origin or the middle of your graph there, and that it comes out 4 on each direction. And you can draw. Now, your circle does not have to be perfect. Mine won't be, okay? But you get the general idea, right? And again, my center is in the middle, which the coordinates there are 0, 0. And my radius goes from the center to one of the edges, which is 4. So I want you to use your calculator in conjunction with your learning guide to be able to get your graph, and then you interpret the graph based on where the center is and where what the radius value would be. Okay, I'm going to switch back for our last problem on this part, which is about the volume of a rectangular box. So I am no artist, but I will attempt here. I know enough about art to be dangerous, and I say that my sister is an art teacher. Okay, and so the width is 4 inches, the length is 6, and the height is 8. So we're going to use the formula for the volume that says that it is the length times the width times the height. And we'll put those values in. So the length here is 6, the width here is 4, and the height here is 8. So you can type those in your calculator. It looks like I'll get 24 times 8. 24 times 8 is 192. And because it's volume, that's going to be cubic inches or inches cubed. Both ways are acceptable to say it that way. All right, well, I hope that helps for part 1 of the week 2 learning guide. I will link the week 2 part 2 of the learning guide, so you'll be able to access it pretty quickly. Don't forget to like and subscribe. That way you get a notification every time I post a new video. Leave in the comments if there's something I could do a video on that would help you a lot. I would greatly appreciate it. Bye for now.